Hello, this is Steve from Beato's Leatherworks, and today's project is these RedWing 3343 boots. Now, just about with every repair restorations that come in through the mail, there's a list of things to do. All right, so we're going to change the 270-degree welt to 360. We're going to do storm welt. We're going to do leather full soles. We're going to do rubber half Dr. soles. Beato's name at shank. Green thread on welt. Leave the edges natural. Remove the speed hooks and the eyelets and change them to black. Now we've got the green Dr. Sole soles. We're going to convert them into half soles and make it work. All right, let's get started. It's always disheartening taking a brand new boot apart and tearing them apart to redo them, but we gotta do what we gotta do. All right, so we've got Brian here, and let's see if he can help us out. Look at you go, boy. Your teacher must have been a smart fella.
I hope so.
All right, keep going. Good job. So we're breaking Brian in. He's not only a good coffee maker, but he's learning. Slow down, slow down. You don't have to rush because the camera's on. Slow down. Don't tear anything apart that I gotta fix. All right, so this is our storm welt that we're going to use. It's got a little bit of a bead on top like that, and this is a split welt because it's split right there, and it's lifted up. And then we've got our third choice would be a flat welt. So this is what we're going to use on this one here. All right, now this is a 270-degree welt. We've spoken about these in other videos before. Basically, it starts from the ankle bone to the toe, back to the ankle bone. Now, sometimes what you can do to make it into a 360 look-alike, you can get a wider heel rand, put it there, and continue to stitch all the way around, and then nail this to the footbed. That's like, I mean, I've done that before, but to do a truly 360-degree welt, we're going to have to put a gemming on the back right here. Gemming is this fabric canvas piece that's stitched together with the uppers on the back of the heel and make it into a 360 stitch like that. So that's what we're going to do. So once we take this apart, clean it up, remove the welt, clean the cork, we're going to take the back apart and we're going to continue this gemming all the way to the back so we can have something to sew the welt onto along the back of the boot. All right, now that we've got this apart, this is the actual footbed that you step on, and the gemming is glued on to 270-degree. Now we're just going to continue the gemming from here so we can stitch the welt going all the way around back of the heel. So this is the new gemming. We're going to overlap that maybe just a little bit, and we go ahead and glue the rest of it down. This is about the best way to convert a 270 into a 360 welt conversion. We'll overlap the other side too a little bit. Voila! And that's it. Now we've added a little bit of glue to the gamming and to the uppers right there, and we're going to glue them together. Now you got to be careful because you can easily pull the uppers down too much and the welt sits high. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep that heel cup still the same. So the welt is going to be about right here where the curve starts. Just like with the rest of the uppers, how the curve starts, the welt is going to go right there. So now we've got in a proper position, and we can start stitching the welt together. And that brings us to the end of stitching the welt on. Nice. All right, let's see what we got. Not a bad job at all. It changes the whole look of the boot, doesn't it? Very cool. I think with the green stitches here, it's going to pop. Alright, so instead of cork, we're going to put some belting leather. This is about maybe 8-9 ounces, just enough to fill in that void. And then we'll put our 5-rib shank and then our leather sole on top of that. Now some of you are going to ask, why are you using leather instead of cork? You can do either or. I do both. But the leather has a little bit of a longevity rather than the cork itself. All right, so we've got our welt on now. We're going to put the shank. We're going to do the leather. We're going to do house leather, which is our Black Forest. This is the German pit tan leather. However, you know, you're supposed to have the consistency thickness of the sole. don't know if you guys can see that. Fairly same. This one here, look how thin it is compared to that one. So this is crap. I don't want to use that for a sole. However, we can use it as a heel base. We're going to make 3 pieces, a heel base out of the sole. All right, so the thinnest part here is in the front area here, where the front of the heel, I should say. We have to sand that down to balance the heel anyway, so this worked out perfectly for it. So we got 3 layers of heel base. This way it'll match the edges of the sole. That way they'll be the same color when they get done. All right, so we've got our heel bases done. Now, this is a pre-made heel base that is vegetable tanned compared to pit tan leather. What's the difference? Well, whenever you're using pit tan soles, or like JR soles, and you get the natural veg tan heel bases, the finish at the end is different. One's going to be darker than the other one. Okay. Besides, these are not bad. We get them pre-made. They're not bad. Sometimes they're not the best because it's a heel base. They're not going to use top quality leather on the heel bases. But since we had that deformed full sole, let's say, it happens sometimes. It's natural, but you know, I try to weed through all the bad ones, which is very rarely. You'll get a few pairs out of, you know, a few dozens. We'll use them for pieces like this to make heel bases out of. So with this, when everything is said and done, everything is nice, similar color after we've put the edge dressing on there. But I kind of like the other one too. It kind of gives a variation of a dark sole and then a lighter midsole. It kind of looks cool after it's finished. Now, when your sandpaper is getting dull, it'll burn the leather. This is what that means. You get a shiny surface like that, which does not adhere to the whatever you're putting on there, a sole, a heel, whatever it is. So we'll tend to, once that happens, we'll tend to sand that surface. If I can find my scratcher here, with this tool here, very sharp. And basically it just kind of scratches the leather, roughs it up again, so you can glue whatever you want on there. Yeah, I think these turned out pretty good. It was kind of a fluke that sole was like that, but turned out good. Now that's solid right there. This way, if there's any chance in the future for the leather kind of coming apart and maybe potentially squeaking, this will stop it. So I found out that it's left a little mark on the eyelets. You see that little mark? Right there? Oh, there was a little burr and a little sharp edge on that anvil right there. So I took that apart and I think this did the trick. Used a little bit of 000 steel wool to sand that off, and hopefully that did the trick. We'll find out. All right, let's see if that cleaned it up. Nope. Did the same thing. Right there. Okay, rookie mistake. I had the wrong anvil in the machine. So this is the correct size eyelet, which is cleaner than those three. So we're going to remove those three and do them like that. God, stupid me. You know, shit happens sometimes. It's too early in the morning, I guess. Gotta blame it on somebody. Not my fault. You know, I used to have a guy used to work for me, and he says there are two rules to the shop. He would say, first rule is the boss is always right. And then the second rule, if the boss is wrong, refer to rule number 1. And he would laugh, 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 laugh. I remember him every time. Every time that comes up in my mind. Oh, anyway. Yeah, much, much better. Yeah, much better. These are it compared to those. Those are junk. We're going to get rid of those. Let's take those out before I forget that I have to take them out. 1, 2. You can reuse the washers in the back. They're still good. All right, let's continue. All right, we've got the Rapid E set up for top thread green, bottom thread green, and we're gonna hold our breath and stitch this. And it never fails. As soon as I'm recording, something comes up. It looks like it did a loop-de-loop right here. I don't know what the hell is that about. We're gonna have to fix that. All right, let's continue. All right, we are getting there, slowly but surely. And we got a shout out today. A viewer from Oman. His name is Khalid El Sayabi. Kifak Habibi. Only for you. Since you asked me to shout you out, there you go. All right, let's continue. All right, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Leave a comment. And I think they turned out pretty good. It's exactly what the customer ordered. So I think he'll be pretty happy. Now, I added the black laces on there. Figured that if he likes it, he likes it. He doesn't, he can add his own laces. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. A couple of the areas the stitching got messed up, we fixed that. So made sure that everything was flawless. All right, thanks again for joining me. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys again on the next project. Take care.